Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 339 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather knowing that something else is more important than fear. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like a Durik with a virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany, still in Maine.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And hopefully Chrissy will be joining us as soon as Jared gets home. Poor Jared is stuck in traffic. Yeah, that's never fun. Been there, done that. Nope. Probably should have a t-shirt, but yeah. Anyways, we need to do the news first. Not really a whole lot of news other than the Emmy Awards were last night. You had some interesting things happen as far as winners. Unfortunately, the Disney Plus stuff didn't necessarily, win as much as we would have liked. Biased. But they did. But both WandaVision and The Mandalorian did walk away with a handful of Emmys, mostly technical ones, because that's the way things roll in the geek world. Is the fun stuff gets all the technical awards. But The Mandalorian did win for outstanding sound mixing for a comedy or drama series, a 1-hour comedy or drama series. It won for outstanding visual effects in a season or movie. Understandable. Outstanding stunt coordination. Outstanding stunt performance. Outstanding cinematography for a single camera series, half hour. I don't know how it won for a 1 hour and then a half hour, but
not gonna quibble.
Yeah,
kind of like in between. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah. Outstanding prosthetic makeup. Outstanding music composition for a series. So all deserved. WandaVision won for outstanding production design for a narrative program. Also won for outstanding outstanding fantasy sci-fi costumes. Specifically for the episode filmed before a live studio audience. And outstanding original music and lyrics for It Was Agatha All Along.
Song that's still stuck in everyone's head months later.
Seriously.
Hey, there's Chrissy.
Hello. Hey. Yeah, we went to this gymnastics place that they have birthday parties and stuff for one of my cousins, and they had like a soundtrack of Disney songs playing, and Agatha All Along was in there, and I was just like, really?
Hey, that is an Emmy Award winning song now. So
I know. It's just they're it's an earworm, and sometimes I'm a little bit...
as soon as Chauncey got to that point, to that reveal in WandaVision. After anytime he does something that, you know, makes me look at him like, why did you do that, you weirdo? He's like, it was Agatha's fault. She did it. I'm like, whatever. So Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't win anything that it was nominated for, although it was nominated in several of the same technical categories as The Mandalorian, which The Mandalorian did win. So can't it still goes to the House of Mouse at the end of the day.
Me too, middle.
Yeah.
I'd rather Mandalorian win than Falcon anyway. Sorry.
Yeah. But then The Crown, of course, being The Crown, walked away with several, including Outstanding Directing for a Drama Series, Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series, Claire Foy for her return appearance as younger Queen Elizabeth II, Outstanding Cinematography for a Single Camera Series, Outstanding Casting, the Outstanding Supporting Actress, Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher, Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series, Tobias Menzies as Prince Philip, Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, Olivia Colman as Queen Elizabeth II, just adding to her collection of bling. Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, Josh O'Connor as Prince Charles. And then some more technical, Outstanding Single Camera Picture Editing, Outstanding Writing for a Drama. So, yay! So,
woohoo!
Award season is back. And then that's it really for the news. But we've got some feedback. We got a comment from Brian about our episode, our last Big Finish episode, All Hail the Great Talking Bird. And Brian says, I just finished this one. Quite a few differences than other audio dramas. The use of curse words was a bit shocking and very much darker tone with amputation and other things. A giant morphing penguin is a great idea for a companion, though. Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Will not argue there.
Yep. And then we got some feedback from Shalane. And Shalane, I will let you know now, I have cut out some of your feedback because it contains spoilers for Shang-Chi, and we're still trying to keep Brittany unspoiled. So she may hear this and be like, I wrote more than that. Sorry, I took out the spoilery bits.
Sorry, Jalen, I'm slow this time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she agrees. Shang-Chi was awesome. And she says we should watch the Marvel Legends stuff on Disney Plus. Aquafina's character Katie was great. She says she was her favorite, loved her outfits. She says funny because she's now in 2 movies that have involved dragons, because she's also in Raya and the Last Dragon. And then of course the Venn diagram of Disney related people who've also been in Crazy Rich Asians is slowly becoming a circle, because both Aquafina and Michelle Yeoh, who plays a character in Shang-Chi, were both in Crazy Rich Asians, along with Ronnie Ching, who plays John. He was also in it, and actually she hasn't made her debut yet, but also in Crazy Rich Asians is Gemma Chan, who is going to be Cersei in Eternals. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they look at the cast list of Crazy Rich Asians and they're like, yeah, we'll just take all of them.
Seems like it.
These people are talented. She also says she loves the flashbacks, the chemistry and the showing the family relationships there is pretty awesome. She also likes the scene on the plane with the airline attendant asking about food options. That was a funny scene.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And she says she's almost been to San Francisco. She's seen it from a distance. But she would like to go and see some of the places that have filmed in San Francisco's, like the Parent Trap, Ant-Man, and appropriately enough, the Princess Diaries. And then she also asked.
You should mention that.
Yeah, and then she also asked if we consider Iron Man 3 a Christmas movie, since some of it takes place around Christmas.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched it around Christmas time before, so it was usually never like, ooh, let's watch this a Christmas movie. It's like, ooh, it's Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just watch Iron Man all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Yeah. The
seasonless.
Yeah.
The Die Hard thing kind of started out as a meme, and now it's reached something greater, I suppose.
Yeah.
But there you go.
So, thank you, Shalane and Brian, for your comments.
Indeed.
We appreciate it. And then, as we alluded there, one of Shalane's movies that have been filmed in San Francisco. How appropriate. Because this week we're talking about the Princess Diaries movies.
Yes. Probably more the first one than the second one. Well, we'll touch upon the second one.
Yeah, because I watched the second one, and I wasn't sure, just because a lot of times sequels, especially with like comedies, are really hard to live up to the predecessor, because comedy, it could just be so subjective.
Yeah, and it's like you got like if you get the comedy right in the first one, and then all you do in the second is just kind of copy it, it's sort of like
Yeah.
But
but I was actually genuinely amused with the second one and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it with both of these movies is the cast and the chemistry with the cast.
For sure. My big thing, because this movie came out, I guess, just at the right time for me. I was just in that awkward, weird, teenage phase, and it's, like I had a joke. So there's that bit at the beginning of the first one where the principal's walking through, and she says hi to Lily, and then she goes, Lily's friend, and I had an email address that was Lily's friend. Because I just you just kind of feel like you're ignored, that people don't really care about you, that kind of thing. And then wouldn't it be amazing to find out all of a sudden, guess what, you're heir to you're royalty, you're a princess, you get to your life is actually pretty sweet, except it's normal, and now everybody wants to schmooze up to you because now you're cool. But
well,
really,
not everybody. The bully, the mean cheerleader, apparently does not give two craps.
No, that is true. Although she did try to schmooze her a little bit and try to. But anyway, yeah. But we'll get to that. But this one's always been my favorite. I know it's not like a top favorite of everybody, but it's just got that sweet, squishy, warm place in my heart of, it was the first Anne Hathaway movie I saw. It's Julie Andrews.
It's her first movie.
That is true. That is true. And it's just fun. It's just a fun, sweet film. It doesn't have a whole lot of expectation to it, but I don't know. It's just one of those that it hit me where I live at the time.
And from what I understand, because I've never read the books, because these are based on there's a whole mess of books, but like other than like name, like
Yeah.
some of the character names, this is so far removed from the book. The first one is based on one of the actual books. The second one, not so much. But this is like so far removed from the book in from what I understand, actually the best way possible, because a lot of the characters are just not likable.
No,
like Mia's grandmother is like a bitch.
Yes.
Her parents, her dad is actually alive, but her parents like hate each other. Her dad's like a philanderer and just sleeps like all over the place.
And Mia herself in the books, like I read the book after I saw the movie because I didn't know it was a book first. I read the book after and I'm just like, I don't like you. Go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I
like Mia's like really like shallow.
Yes.
In the books. So
I think book Mia is what is kind of they toned book Mia down and made her Lily instead, quite frankly. I mean like movie Lily is fine, but when as I was reading the book, I'm like, are we sure this is the right character? Like, who is this? This isn't Mia. Like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have never been able to read any of Meg Cabot's stuff just because I read Princess Diaries and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like, how can you like this person at all?
Yeah.
So this is one of the rare times where the movie is better than the book.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I've
never read the book, so I was actually curious about it.
Yeah, it's if you like the movie, you won't like the book.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I think we can. I don't know what else. Gina Wencoast, she wrote the screenplay for the first one. She also worked on the second one, but she has the sole credit for the first one. She doesn't have a lot of writing credits and actually hasn't really done a whole lot since.
Huh, that surprises me.
She did TV. She did a whole bunch of TV before going into the movies. The only thing she did before the Princess Diaries is she wrote wrote Coyote Ugly.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, okay then.
Now I can see some of the humor. That makes some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think also a lot of it has to do with the fact that both this one and the second movie were directed by Gary Marshall.
That too, yeah.
That definitely makes a difference. And there's a definite style to a Gary Marshall film, and you either love it or you hate it. I mean,
this is the same guy that gave us Pretty Woman. And
did he direct Never Been Kissed? I feel like he was in it, I think. Now I gotta look that up.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Of course, IMDb decides to move to a snail's pace. Here we go. He was in Never Been Kissed. Let's see. Right, I don't want writing credits. I want directing.
Raja Gosnell.
Yeah.
So Gary Marshall didn't direct it, but he was in it.
Yeah. No, he directed movies like Beaches, Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride. So yeah, he's talented dude. So he rest in peace. But you just you think of Gary Marshall and you think of Penny Marshall and like, oh, they're both funny. So
yep.
They just kind of have that sense of humor that I think fits with something like this. But yeah, I mean, this was Anne Hathaway's first movie. Her first, at least, starring role. I think she had like a teeny tiny bit part in something before this. And there were a ton of actresses that were considered and even asked presented with this role, be like, hey, you interested? And they all turn it down. Like one of the big ones was Liv Tyler. But she ended up turning it down, which freed her up to do those little fantasy movies that filmed in New Zealand instead.
Yeah,
you may
I
have
know
seen
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That may have been a better choice for her, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, so Anne Anne being Anne is what got her this role. She auditioned, and in the audition, she actually almost not exactly, but very similar to the scene in the first movie where Mia falls out of her chair, and did that in the audition.
Oh gosh.
She fell out of the chair. When Gary was looking at the footage of auditions, his granddaughters, who end up making appearances in both movies, Mia's grandmother's line about nepotism in the second movie is all the more funny when you start realizing just how many people's family members end up in both of these movies, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Gary's granddaughters were watching as well, or walked in the room or whatever, and they saw Anne's audition tape, and they told him he has to hire her because she has the best princess hair.
And then they cover it up in a wig for the first little bit.
Yes, the Beast.
Yes.
The hair beast known as the Beast.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently
some
everybody on the cast and crew hated that thing just because it was so outrageous, because they really needed, because Anne's hair was just apparently princess worthy, so they needed to hide that. So yeah, they gave her a hairpiece that became known as the Beast. And then the unibrow, all those little hairs had to be individually glued on. It took the makeup people an hour just to do her eyebrows, because all those individual hairs had to be glued on.
Now see, this is,
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to say this is a criticism I have of the movie, because hair, makeup, whatever, but I have naturally curly hair. My hair does that hairpiece thing naturally if I don't glue it down with, well, I don't glue it down, but with mousse and all, work and all that stuff. And I'm sitting here going like, watching this movie, I'm like, how come her hair never goes back to that big poof?
The frizz.
The frizz, because straightening curly hair, that takes forever. I haven't done it in years. I used to do it from time to time, but
there are chemical things you can do to kind of beat curly hair into submission and make it sleek and straight. And I guess with some hair, you do it often enough, your hair just kind of forgets how to be curly after a while.
But it wouldn't be that princessy.
Well, you don't have Pablo.
That is true. I don't have Pablo.
You don't have Pablo to turn you into a moose and make all the boy moose go.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot that was in the second movie. I'm like, wait a second, that's that scene.
Oh, Pablo.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, the first movie is it's pretty tropey,
Mm-hmm.
But it's done in a
not so
fun...
good looking girl that we can all tell is actually really good looking. Gets a makeover, and in the process has it changes her relationship with the people around her.
Yeah.
In this case, it puts a wedge between her and Lily for a while until Lily finds out exactly. Yeah.
Which it doesn't last, like that rift, I guess, doesn't last very long. Well, until she bails and goes to the party instead of on her cable show. But I mean, it's it's a little more than just, oh, she got a makeover and now she wears heels and wears fancy dresses and whatever. Like, it's all this work to kind of discover a world that she was born into but never got to experience because of her parents' decisions when she was younger, and like getting to know her grandmother and the relationship between her and her grandma. Like, that's one of my favorite things about this movie is Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews are just so brilliant together, which is a big chunk of why I do enjoy the second one, even if it's not quite as much. I don't love it quite as much as I love the first one. But things like she has princess lessons with her grandmother, and then they go have a break and go to shows. Mia shows Queen Clarice around San Francisco, and they go like to the wharf, and they eat corn dogs and they play whack-a-mole and they crash the car and all these things. So it's more about like, it's like, here's all these things that you were born for, you were born to do. And then also here's a really, really cool grandmother. Like, they could have played her as the really strict, this is how Thai society is, and this is what, so there's so many problems with you and I have to fix it. But they didn't play the grandmother like that, and I really appreciated that, because they could have just made it just this overbearing, it's my way or the highway sort of relationship, and they didn't. It was a grandmother and a granddaughter. They're both trying to figure this out. And there's not really a villain so much in this movie. It's more just, it's the situation of Mia has to learn how to be a princess and have that presence, because there's no one else to inherit the throne except you're gonna send it to the baron and the baroness. I can't remember their name, but I always remember the joke, may you always be baron. I think he's the prime minister.
I think so.
The big guy. Yeah, I love him. Yeah. And just how sweet everyone is to Mia, because they all realize, like in the Genovian side of things, they all realize that she has no idea what she's doing, so they like make a point to make her comfortable, and they're like, at the dinner they're like, oh, she didn't realize it was frozen, we should take that much too, and so they don't, so she doesn't look stupid. They all look stupid together.
and all suffer brain freeze together.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, the fact that in the first one, Mia is 15 getting ready to turn 16, so that's why she's got a car that she's slowly getting, trying to get restored, this beautiful Mustang. But she doesn't quite have, she doesn't have a driver's license yet, so she has to, she either walks, or she and Lily run around on the scooters, which is so funny now, because I'm like, those are everywhere now.
Yes. Like, it was supposed to be some kind of San Francisco thing, and now it's everybody's got
they're
them
everywhere. So, but like, she's at this age where 15, 16, that's a tough age anyway.
Yes.
Because you're a few years away from quote unquote adulthood, and you're supposed to be figuring out who you're going to be, who you want to be, and who you're going to be as an adult. So, she probably could have had a hard enough time just trying to figure out, like where she was going to go to college, and what she wanted to major. But then to have somebody step in and say, oh, who you're going to be as an adult has already been decided for you.
Yeah. And you didn't grow up with this information, because like, if you children of royalty, they're from the cradle, they are taught what to do and what to expect and how to act and all these things. And she's here like fumbling through it, kind of like in real time, and everyone's watching her. Like, the paparazzi is all over the place and trying to get it in with her, and sneak, cornering her at school and
Mm-hmm.
and finding her at the party in an embarrassing situation because tabloids. And I mean, at least like the gym teacher at the party finds her and they're like, get out of here, vultures.
Yeah.
I loved the gym teacher. She was so fun. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you kind of expect from a movie like this, but it doesn't do all the really cruel, awful, terrible things. Like I mentioned Never Been Kissed a little bit earlier, and I'm just realizing those two came out fairly close to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, Never Been Kissed, there's like the character in that one, she gets picked on so awful, like so bad, and it's like, you guys really, it's like, is that really how high school is for a lot of people? I mean, maybe, but the fact that they didn't do that, they didn't go that route with Princess Diaries, I really appreciate, because it's just, like you said, she's 16, she's got enough on her plate, and then you throw this extra thing into there, and it's like that makes plenty of drama without throwing in all the bullying and basic social torture in there anyway.
Yeah. Or dragging out, like 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 I said, she and Lily get into a fight because Lily doesn't understand her best friend is suddenly changes, her looks are different, she's wearing slightly different clothes that seem more hoity-toity than what she's used to. But once Lily finds out what's exactly going on, they could have dragged it out even longer and been, maybe made Lily like super jealous or something. But no, she's like, oh, wow, that's a lot to take in. I'm gonna support you because you're my best friend.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm really excited and happy for you.
Yeah.
And Sandra Oh's character.
Oh yeah, the assistant principal.
The principal. I just kind of love how she just ignores the one girl that's trying to make Mia's life a living heck, and after she gets taken down a peg or two, Sandra's like, her character's like, oh, whatever, you'll do just fine. Just have it dry cleaned.
Oh, sorry, I was in a very important faculty meeting and I didn't see it. Send it out for dry cleaning.
Even though I didn't see it, I can just
yes. And it's kind of funny because even the faculty at the school know like who the bullies are, who's making whose life miserable, and all these different things, and it's just it's great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All those things that you wish would happen when you're that age, you wish would happen in real life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh. But, and speaking of Julie Andrews, because we know her as Mary Poppins, we know her as Sound of Music, and she has like these very dignified sort of roles, and this one is still dignified, but there's also a bit of like an element of comedy to what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's and it's not like she's the one cracking jokes, but she's sort of more the straight man to all the craziness going around. It kind of reminds me, after our review of Oscar, it kind of reminds me of Sylvester Stallone, like having all that good comedic timing, but that's because he's the straight man in all this nuttiness going around. So it's the same sort of thing with Julie Andrews, but then she still has these little moments, things like Mia says, you want to slide in first? He goes, I never slide. So but it's still like, it's freaking Julie Andrews, come on.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that was, I mean, there were some other character things with the Mia's father in the books that Disney was like, yeah, this isn't appropriate.
Let's just kill him off. We're good at that.
Yeah, so they ended up killing him off, but then they were able to give like a lot of his lines and some of the things that he does to support Mia and help her along. They ended up giving to Julie Andrews, and in this case, the Meg Cabot was all like, that's fine, totally is Julie Andrews.
Yeah. What
In
she
this
wants,
case,
she
yes,
gets.
completely kill off one of my main characters if you want Dame Julie Andrews to take have a big part in this. So, and this was actually the first time that Julie had done anything with Disney since Mary Poppins.
Oh wow.
You think about Julie Andrews and you think about this amazing career she had, and Mary Poppins was a big part of it. In fact, the studio, the soundstage on the Disney studio lot, soundstage 2, I think, where they filmed this was actually the same soundstage they had filmed Mary Poppins at, and has since been named the Julie Andrews soundstage. So, but yeah, I mean, she's had this long career, but actually her connections, she's not, the role of Mary Poppins makes her, connected to Disney for all time. But it's crazy to think that she really hadn't done anything with Disney since until then. But I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, she does a really good job of playing kind of the straight person to Anne Hathaway's kind of crazy, this kind of Laurel and Hardy, maybe not so much Laurel and Hardy, maybe more Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
That's more of a better analogy. Yeah.
Where obviously Julie Andrews is the Dean Martin side of things, while Anne Hathaway is the Jerry Lewis. And actually, there's several things that are in the movie that happen because Anne Hathaway was apparently in real life almost as clumsy as Mia is supposed to be. Like when she and Lily are at the bleachers when they're in the rain and Mia slips, that was Anne Hathaway slipping.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at the first dinner where she accidentally catches the guy's sleeve on fire, that he was supposed to set it on fire, but he was just supposed to take his arm, dunk it in the thing of ice, and it was supposed to go out. It didn't go out. So when she throws the glass of water on him, that's Anne Hathaway freaking out because the fire didn't go out like it was supposed to.
Oh boy.
Oh, I love this.
So yeah, there's the line between Anne Hathaway and Mia is a bit blurry.
Yeah.
But I think, and the fact that she fell out of the chair in the audition.
Yes. That's our princess.
Yep. So she, I think she was maybe kind of born for this role.
Yeah.
So
what can we say about Joseph?
Yeah,
I love it. He's
Dr. Elizondo is Joe.
I love him. He's one of my favorites. I remember when I was little and I first watched it, for some reason I thought he was gonna be kind of not necessarily a villain, but turn on them somehow. I don't know, maybe rat on them to the paparazzi or something. But no, he's just amazing.
Yeah, and the budding romance between Clarice and Joe was not originally in the script.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, that was
Really?
that was something that actually Hector and Julie Andrews picked up on and decided it should be expanded upon.
Good for them.
Yeah. So yeah, they had they had the dance scene, but they realized that there could be some chemistry there between those two. So they decided to go with it, and according to Hector Elizondo, he said, we felt that a romance after 50 was important to tell, and it could be sensual and sexy while keeping your clothes on.
Good on them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially because at this point the queen is still kind of in mourning after the death of her husband. And actually she does, she's wearing black and dark colors until that scene, and Joe tells her, you've been wearing black too long, and after that she starts wearing color again. So that's a nice little touch. Oh. I don't really have anything else for the first movie to add. So the second one. What?
I can feel whole pain about the social, the public speaking. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never quite got as bad as she did, but yeah, it was close sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, or even just like, what Chrissy was saying at the beginning, pre-makeover Mia, just feeling kind of like, like nobody noticed me, I just want to get through my day. I've got like a couple of friends that don't mind me and my quirks, and I'm not necessarily the most attractive person, but that's not necessarily what I want either. She's just she's 15. She's just trying to get through these really, really awkward years. High school can suck no matter who you are. So I totally get pre-makeover Mia, like I had some days where I'm like, I just wish somebody would come and give me a glamorous makeover.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we were all dreaming for Paolo.
Paolo.
Paolo would come and give us a makeover, and
Paolo is the artiste.
Yes,
he knows.
He's also a snitch, so
yes, but not out of malice. He wanted people to know that the head was mine.
Yes,
were mine.
He's still a snitch.
He is. Yeah. I mean, oh goodness.
Yeah, they still brought him back for the second one, so
well, there's our segue into the second movie.
Yeah, at least Joe is still around. You gotta
love
Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I mean, if for anything else, the second movie gave us the opportunity to. I'm sure there were people that because they decided to pick up that very subtle thread of the potential romance between Clarice and Joe, and kind of go with it.
Well, not
build
so
on
subtle
it
by the very end.
No.
Yeah, but there was that hint of a little something, but the movie really was the focus. Mia was the focus. She needed to be the focus of the movie. But the second one gave us the opportunity to really expand upon that relationship between Joe and Clarice, and give them their happy ending at the end.
Yes.
They're so cute.
Oh yes.
And we have
they
a future Star Trek captain and a dwarf from a certain fantasy series in this one.
Yeah, really. Well, by this time, it's 2004 for the second movie, at least as far as release for us. It's more years have passed in universe.
Yes.
5
And
years have passed.
can I just say just how annoyed I was that they broke up Mia and Michael? I'm just, I mean, that was like one of the best parts of the first movie was that, yeah, I mean, she doesn't all of a sudden, become a princess and suddenly, she gets to date the hot guy from school. She gets the guy that, her best friend's brother that was always kind of there crushing on her a little bit, but didn't really know what to do about it. And, he saw her before, all this happened. And I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. And then at the beginning of the second movie, like, no, we're just friends. I'm just like, really?
Yeah, it's because he didn't want to come back.
I know.
The actor
I
didn't
know.
want to come back because he actually is in a band in real life. And by that point, the band was on tour and having a rather successful career. So
I like that. I like them together. And then, she has to go find other, royal dudes to date in court, and so that they can.
Well, at least she didn't get stuck with the 12-year-old.
True. Yes. Yeah. The 12-year-old who would later star in Santa Claus 2.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I did read, I was doing a little teeny bit of research about the books. I did read that they actually, in the books, Mia and Michael got married, or they had a long relationship, something like that. So there's that.
Well, I guess there's the books, but I didn't like the books. So I know. So I probably wouldn't like I didn't like Mia in the book, so I probably wouldn't enjoy the relationship in
Probably
the book.
not.
Yeah, I only read the first one and I was like, no, this is not for me. Which, I guess if you were a fan of the books first and then you saw the movie, you'd be really upset that, like, what did they do to the characters? And so I guess I'm just the opposite. I saw the movie first and liked it, and the book just, the changes were better. So there. I know that's probably blasphemy, but
Yeah. And then we get a certain surprise cameo. I had to double check to make sure I wasn't watching a different genre of movie.
Yeah, as the guests start arriving for the royal wedding, and checking off names on the guest list, and hello, Stanley.
I was like, oh, okay.
Gearing
I was
up.
happy and sad at the same time. I was like, oh, it's a Stanley cameo.
In a not Marvel movie before
yes.
Marvel movies were really, well, I guess they were sort of a thing kind of by then. Not as we know them now.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's been making cameos since like the 70s.
Yeah.
Right. In this, that, the other thing, but this was just, so blatant where, it was just like
Like, I should be on your list.
Yes. He's like flirting with the poor lady checking off the names, and the lady he's with is like, yeah, he was watching the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
That's how he learned English.
Yes. But yeah, so it's like, we get the first movie, which helps launch the career of Anne Hathaway with her first, major motion picture credit. And then we get the sequel, which helps give the first major film appearance of Chris Pine.
Yep.
With hair that just does not look right to me.
No, agreed.
No,
yeah.
That looks
Well,
wrong.
I mean, since he's been since he's been a big star, and people are like, he was in Princess Diaries too. I'm like, he was. So I go back and look. I'm like, okay, I guess that is him. If I tilt my head and squint, imagine him with a different haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
something.
it's not so much the color The color is okay, but the shape of it is just wrong. It just like
Weird.
does not fit his head.
No.
There was
like
some,
how big do you think his face is?
There was some hairdresser who was having fun experimenting.
It was
somewhere.
Paolo, is what it was.
Exactly.
Yes.
That was his equivalent of boy moose.
Yes.
That was the boy moose.
Yes. And we aren't talking about one of the supernatural brothers. No.
We're talking actual moose.
The moose that make them go.
Yes.
Yeah, but then we have at least this movie. Well, I say at least, but in this movie, there's definitely a obvious villain.
Yes.
Played masterfully by John Rhys Davies.
Yes. Yeah, Salah's gone dark side.
Little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so, just he does a role like this so well. So
he
poor Chris,
nicely.
Yeah, and poor Chris Pine, he's just really just the hapless nephew that is just along for it because why not?
Pretty much.
Yeah, he's like, I'm old enough to be king and my dad would have liked it. So yeah, sure, let's totally manipulate the princess so that I can usurp the throne. But I think really his uncle just really wanted him to become king so that he could be the puppet master.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Behind the scenes. So he Nicholas may have been, could have been king in name, but the Viscount would have been the guy calling the shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of that happens, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they don't want the title themselves, but they want to be, really
the influence and the power.
Yes.
Yeah. To paraphrase a certain Broadway play, they want to be in the room where it happens.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
But the whole idea of an arranged marriage. I think even today there are certain cultures that still follow that, and if that works for them, great.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely has to be a cultural thing. I mean, in our culture, it's like, ew, no, but there are places where it works just fine. So
but, it worked for me as grandmother. So
yes,
she may have never been head over heels, kicking one foot up in the air in love with her husband, but it was a pleasant experience for her. She obviously doesn't regret it.
Yeah.
No.
And it's kind of like what you're raised to expect. Like I said earlier, royalty generally they're raised with certain expectations and what they're supposed to be doing, or what their life is going to be like, whereas most people are all like, no, I get to choose what I want and all of that. So it's just a little different.
Yeah. Well, it also is different depending on where you are in the hierarchy.
Yes.
So for someone like Mia, who is supposed to be the next person to take the throne, there's certain expectations for her.
Yes.
So like we see that with even in real life with royalty, the British royal family. Although I really think William and Catherine married for love. But yeah, Catherine does come from a upper class, not titled, not like Diana was, but still, someone of, she went to the same, secondary schools and had the same education as William and all of those things, because William is going to be king someday. So it stands to reason that if he's going to marry someone and fall in love, hopefully it's someone that also checks those boxes that people would, expect the future king to marry. But then, you have his brother Harry, who like half of the family tree would have to be wiped out before Harry would ever be eligible to become king. So he married a commoner. He married an American who was divorced and of mixed race and not went to Eton and Cambridge and all of those things. She's she doesn't check those boxes. But you know what? The expectations aren't there for Harry either. So he had a bit more freedom. It kind of sucks when you think about it, because here we have us regular folks. You marry for love. And that should be it. That should be all that matters, is do you love each other? But
well, I mean, you read enough historical fiction like I do, and and some of it historical romance, but there's definitely a sense in those stories. It's like, marrying for love is so lower class, only the poor can do that, and we have to marry to for
it's a business
lineage,
transaction.
For lineage, for alliances, for all this other stuff,
which I tried to explain that to Chauncey once, and he did not understand that is a concept that actually existed at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
I just must read a lot of historical fiction and biographies and stuff, because I'm just like, that's how it worked for many. So like kind of go off on a tangent. So like, if you're ever doing family history and like tracing your line back, like once you get to a certain point, like everybody married, like not necessarily royalty, but peerage, the title, the nobility. And so once you figured that one out, if you figure it out to that point, then you've basically got your line figured out to the early medieval times or whatever, somewhere really far back, because they kept such meticulous records and kept track of like everybody's bloodline for better or worse. Most of the time worse, as you look at DNA and genetics and things and whatnot. But they truly believed that bloodlines had to be pure and they had to be maintained, because it was
J.K. Rowling didn't pull the pure blood thing out of thin air.
That concept has been around for millennia, probably from the beginning of recorded human history. Is your bloodline, if you're royalty, must not ever be diluted. That's why you get so many royal cousins marrying.
Right.
And we kind of see how that turned out later. But it's fascinating and kind of sad, but also it's sort of like a train wreck that you can't look away from.
Like I've been like down a rabbit hole of like the Tudors.
Of
anything. Look at those guys. And like I was talking one about Anne Boleyn and her sister Mary.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like Mary married someone for love and didn't even tell anyone, and like they had like this whole big deal, and she was basically like shunned from the family.
Yes, so this is serious business when you're royalty and marrying, and love does not enter into the equation at all. It is, who are your parents, who are your grandparents, who were your great grandparents, and that makes you a suitable match. And this history lesson, courtesy of the Five-ish Fangirls, has been brought to you by
love is verboten.
Yes. That's
why that's why that becomes a plot point. It's a major plot point of this movie, is the Mia, there's this stupid archaic law on the Genovian books that nobody has ever bothered to enforce until now, because you've got John Rhys Davies, who's got ulterior motives.
Looking
If he
through
wasn't in
everything
the
with a
picture,
fine-tooth
nobody would probably think twice about it. But it is steeped in, some historical fact, that, a woman could be queen, but she still had to have a man by her side, presumably to, guide her, because women are stupid, or at least stupider than men.
We're too emotional.
We're too emotional. Yes. Yeah.
We'll show you emotional.
Yeah. So, the fact that that she gets matched up with this guy who actually seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
If there had been an attraction there, it probably actually would have been a really good match. But there's just, Mia's young and she's got these ideals of wanting to marry for love, as much as she loves her country. So, it's a tough situation she's in. Yeah. It's like the girl in the taco commercial. It's like hard shell, soft shell. Why can't we have both? And it supposedly by the end of the movie she does get both. So, and she also proves that she actually will be a good ruler, even though she did not grow up in Genovia, and therefore is really behind the learning curve. But like what was it, like an outdoor tea party, garden party, or whatever, and she's walking around and asking people about their families and their pets, and people are like, "Oh, you remembered?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, she's just because she's not from here doesn't mean she's a complete asshole."
Yeah, it's not. I mean, we're not just making small talk because it's the thing that is done.
Yes,
we're actually, she actually cares. She actually remembers because she talks to people.
Yeah,
and and in her mind, that's
her memory's better than mine.
Yeah.
I'd be screwed, but that's just because my memory is crap. So
yeah, but she's in her mind a ruler should make an effort, make a point to show some interest in people, what they need or what their concerns are and things like that. So
well, she recognizes, and both her and her grandmother does too, when they're meeting with people, people coming to express their concerns and things, and her grandmother's like, "Oh yes, we'll send somebody out to take a look at your well," and they both understand that the title may be Queen of Genovia, the country, but the country doesn't exist without the people living in it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Otherwise you'd just be ruler of a bunch of land.
Yes.
And apparently pear trees, because that's the thing that Genovia is known about, is pears.
Yep. Well, and just the way
I can't decide yet if pear flavored popcorn would actually be good or not.
Yeah. Well, it's a combination sweet, salty. It might be good. And just the way Mia handled too the parade.
Oh yeah.
With the young girls.
Yeah. Pulling a page out of Princess Diana's book.
Yes.
Oh look, there's small children that require, some loving attention. I am drawn to them like a moth to the flame.
Yes.
Again, I would not make a very good ruler because I don't really like kids. I have a bad memory and I don't really like children. Notice I am not royalty.
Probably for the best.
Yeah. I don't think I can't wear heels anymore either. So I just don't check any of the boxes.
Same.
Although, there was a time where I'm like, ooh, I was like Mia when they're going through the pictures of eligible bachelors and Prince William pops up and you're like, oh
yes.
Right?
I volunteer as tribute.
Like there's he can't because he's already eligible for
his own throne.
Yeah. Like, why is he his picture in for them? I just
It's
like looking at him.
him.
Yeah.
Understandable. Very
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but yeah, nowadays I just like watching the royals from my computer screen. Like, yeah, you go ahead and do all those things wearing those 6-inch heels.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be over here in my fuzzy slippers.
Or my nice, comfortable, sensible sneakers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That even some days those don't seem to be soft enough.
Yeah, true.
True.
I'm getting old. But anyway.
Kids don't get old. It sucks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
Yes.
So speaking of getting old and older, now that it has been over 15 years since the second movie, there are still people that want a third.
And it sounds like it's still in the works.
Well, it was in the works. It's been off and on in the works for several years. There's a loose script that is written, but it kind of went on the back burner when we lost Gary Marshall back in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to do it, and was up for it, and was all like, "Oh yeah, let's do this thing." But yeah, there are some people, and most of the cast has said they were more than happy to come back.
Yay.
Come back for it. So, but do you think at this point, all these years later, do you think that Mia's with Nicholas? Do you think maybe she got back with Michael? Maybe it's someone completely different.
Hmm.
You know, where do you think Princess Mia is now?
Oh boy.
We know her
Well,
grandmother's got her happily ever after. I love that.
Right.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the
Ooh.
wedding's canceled. You know, the wedding between Princess Mia and this other guy is canceled. But hey, since you're all here, dressed up, the
Let's not.
the
let's not
vicar is
waste it,
here,
Kate.
the
Let's not waste
choir
it,
is here, which that poor harassed choir director
Yeah.
was Anne Hathaway's actual mother.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yes. Again,
Cool.
yeah, the queen's comment about nepotism should remain in the arts. There's so many family members, like the pictures and the short scene we see of Mia's father, like writing her that letter when he's out fishing. That's Anne Hathaway's actual father.
Nice.
And his
Fat
voice
Louie,
too, right?
Yeah, Fat Louie is Anne Hathaway's actual cat. Although there were other cats that helped play the role. But Fat Louie is based on Anne Hathaway's actual cat. Gary
Nice.
Marshall makes an appearance in both movies. Penny Marshall makes an appearance in the first movie. The Queen's like personal secretary or whatever, Charlotte, that is Gary Marshall's daughter.
Yeah. It's who you know, guys.
Yeah, the two granddaughters I mentioned that told him that he needs to hire Anne because she has the best princess hair. They appear as the two little girls that asked for Mia's autograph in the first movie, and then they also make an appearance in the second movie. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of family. There's a lot of nepotism in both.
They're
movies.
like, hey, I need some adorable little girls to come, ask Princess Mia for her autograph. Do you girls want to come down to set today?
Yeah. Well, there was a clip I found I'll have to try to find it again on YouTube, and it's Gary Marshall saying, "Yeah, I work best when I'm surrounded by people I know." So people that I know love me and really care for me. So.
Yes.
At least that's his excuse.
Yeah. Rachel, back to your question about who we think Mia ends up with. It's hard to say. I mean, I would like to see her with Michael, but I mean, if Chris Pine is available and and he's willing to do it, I wouldn't mind seeing those two together, or unless they're friends and she's married someone else.
Yeah.
I'm open for any any of those three options.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, the amount of time has passed, I mean, Anne Hathaway, she still looks good. Julie
Mhm.
Andrews, is
Yep.
still kicking it. We know Chris Pine still looks good, and actually
Yep.
his hair is way better now.
Yes.
And maybe they
And
could
Hector
throw in a
Allen-
joke about, I'm so glad you stopped, doing your hair that way
Yes.
Yes.
or something.
Or thank heavens Paolo retired.
Yeah.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
how did you know he was my hairstylist?
Yeah, exactly.
Just a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as
Yeah.
far as what the cast is concerned, other than the fact that we wouldn't have Gary Marshall to direct it,
Yeah, that would be kind of the
Yeah.
you could get another director, but there's always just this thing about it's not quite the same. And also,
Mhm.
because so much time has passed, like I said, the first movie came out, I was in high school, and I was that weird, or maybe I was still in middle school, I was at that weird awkward teenage phase, and in 2004 I was in
Mhm.
college, and I'm like, I don't know if I would connect with a Princess Diaries movie the same way I did back then. So I mean, you definitely have to make the movie for make the movie for either the people who watched it when we were all teenagers and we were all kids, or try to tailor it for our kids somehow.
mhm.
And I don't really know how they do that, but
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what would the third movie, like what would the plot be?
would it be like, because they did My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, and that was about their daughter
Mhm.
was
That- that-
was, and
yeah,
I
maybe.
didn't see it, I just read about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know the details, which is the first one I love. That's another one that it's about
Mhm.
roughly the same time, roughly the same time frame, and so and you just have you have this attachment to the original, and
Mhm.
sometimes it just doesn't quite live up to what your memory was when you like do a redo, a reboot, a sequel, or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm torn on the idea. I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, I'm like, what would they even do?
Right.
But I don't know.
Time will tell, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
If it comes to pass or not.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway. Oh, did we mention that about Julie Andrews singing in the second
Oh
one?
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
That one, because okay, I'm not entirely 100% sure of the events, because there was all this talk of Julie Andrews had lost her singing voice and she would never be
And
able
her
to
speaking voice too. I mean, you can hear
Yeah.
it in several
Yeah.
scenes, especially in the second movie. Her voice
Yeah.
is very gravelly.
yeah
And at this point,
Mhm.
she'd had that throat surgery that
yeah
essentially destroyed her vocal cords in '97.
yeah
So it had been several years, but yeah, her
Yeah.
singing in the second movie was actually the first time she'd ever sung in a
Yeah.
film or in public since the surgery.
yeah which for because I just heard, oh, she'll never sing again. I'm like, oh, that's just awful, that's too bad.
Mhm.
And then they said, oh no, she sings in the second one. I'm like, yeah, what now?
She
So
sings air quotes.
Yes.
It's not
Mhm.
Mary Poppins singing.
no.
They
But-
they obviously had to adjust it so that
Mhm.
she's kind of speaking singing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but having with that in mind, the fact that she did it at all
Well,
was
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
really, really amazing.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
mean, it's freaking Julie Andrews, guys.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. She's just because she could have just been like, oh no, I don't want to, and no one would have faulted her for it. But the fact
No.
that she went for it and did it, I'm just like, oh, that's Dame Julie.
Hmm. She also did the mattress surfing herself too.
Yes. That makes all the the cheesy Disney Channel antics in that scene kind of worth it, because it's like you got
Mhm.
Julie Andrews to do it. Okay.
And it's like,
Mhm.
that's no
That's all.
stunt double. That's her.
That is
Yeah.
Dame Julie Andrews
That is
surfing
herself.
down a slide on a mattress.
Yes.
I'm sure wired up to the nines
Oh,
with
yeah,
of
padding all
course.
over the place.
Mhm. Yes.
Because
Oh, of course.
heaven
of course.
forbid they kill Dame Julie Andrews, or even injure her. But yeah, the fact that she did it, they even get a little wink, where when she's telling Mia, she's like, "Oh, I did something similar when I was your age," and she's like, "Grandma, you never, I can't imagine you surfing or whatever it is she says." She's like, "Oh no, but I flew in my day." And I'm like,
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes.
We're all
It's
like Steve Rogers, like, I understood that reference.
Yes.
It's like you all know what this is, don't you?
She's like, I don't have
Uh.
my talking parrot umbrella, but I can make this mattress work.
Yeah. And that there was that bit in the first movie where she's gonna knight the bus driver and the police officer.
That was the
And she's
second
like-
one, yeah.
Or
It wasn't the first one. It was
Yeah,
No,
it's in the
that's
first one.
It's in the first
Sorry.
one, like after the car crash, and
Yes.
she's getting Mia out of a ticket, and the people in the bus are all like, "Oh, I've got an umbrella," and she's like, "Ah."
Yes. Sorry, I watched them both back to back, so they kind of
Yeah.
blended a little.
No, it's all good.
And my favorite, also the scene with the fan. Are you sassing Grandma? Are you sassing Grandmother?
Yeah, as much as reconnecting with her grandmother and going through this whole thing has changed Mia's life. Obviously, she's also had an effect on her grandmother. Like when
Yes.
the Parliament decides that Mia has to get married if she's going to become queen, and Clarice stands up and she's like, "Shut up!"
Yes. What? Wait, huh?
Yeah.
Your Majesty. It's like, oh, well.
That's an Americanism.
Yeah. Or after Mia, slams on Nicholas's foot. She's like, "As a queen, I simply cannot condone it, but as a grandma, I say, right on."
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you could tell Julie Andrews was just having a blast with this role.
Yes.
Yes.
And it would be good to see her in it again, I think. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think Hector Elizondo was really enjoying his role as Joseph too. I mean, because he has that comedic timing in some of his other roles, but he could play it a little more loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good Joe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he even kind of, took on the role of sort of grandpa
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
I mean, not
Mhm.
like in an in an overt way, but you kind of are like, oh, he's looking out for her and
Mhm.
all of this. When you have there's a lot of movies and books and stories. It's like everyone around the royals are just trying to get what's in it for me, sort of a thing. But these in this one, like the people around Mia actually care about her for the most part. So
They want to see her succeed.
yes, absolutely. And
I-
it's refreshing because it's like, I mean, like you said, Brittany, you're alluding to like the Tudors and all those sorts of things, and reading about that time period, or you watch the shows and the documentaries and stuff, and just how cutthroat everybody is. I'm like, oh, I want everyone to be nice to each other for once.
Mhm.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, Princess
I love the-
Diaries. Oh, go ahead.
I was say I love the little scene in when she's about to do the parade and she's nervous and Joe says, how if you call me Joe? And she's like, no. Like, and it's like a nice little callback to the first one, which I always thought was cute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when they put the little callbacks
Yeah.
Mhm.
to the previous movie, but it's they don't have to be like shining a light on it. Hey, look, we made this reference,
We
like
did the thing.
yeah, like it's
Right.
not till the very, very end, like right before Mia's coronation, where Nicholas comes, kind of begging for
Yes.
forgiveness,
Mhm.
and they properly kiss this time,
Mhm.
and she does the foot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's not like, here's zoom in on it.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it's solid. It's a
Yeah.
good one.
They're
I still,
cute. They're a cute pair of movies. They're
Yeah.
not
Yes.
anything groundbreaking.
no,
But
but
they're
I
just
still,
they're just cute.
yeah, I still like the first one better, but I don't hate the second one. Not by a long shot. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah, I
but
found
yeah,
myself
it's,
thoroughly amused by the second one. I found myself chuckling several times.
Yes.
Well, and I loved how the uncle's maid or PR assistant is just chuckling at his downfall with the popcorn, and then she's
Yeah, shoving it in the cushion.
Shoving it in his
I'm just waiting for her to pull an Oscar and steal some of the jewels and just I quit. I'm looking up.
my goodness. So many antics.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and wasn't it just me, or did the one Scottish reporter almost sound so much like Ruthie Connell from
Yes.
Supernatural?
Yes.
I had to go to IMDb to scroll. I'm like, okay, that's not her, but man, her voice.
Made you look.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Well, you just never know, because
never
these
can.
movies help to kickstart the
Yeah.
careers for some people. Like the
Yeah.
one little orphan that's getting picked on is a really young little Abigail Breslin.
Abigail Breslin, yes,
And that's her. And her brother is the one playing the 12-year-old wearing the aftershave.
Oh wow!
So
Oh yeah. These are fun movies, like we said. So if you
Yes.
haven't seen them, or you haven't seen them in a while, they're on Disney Plus. Go check
Yep.
them out. They're
Both of 'em.
it's a good time. Like we said, nothing groundbreaking, but it's comfort food.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they're fun,
exactly.
cute movies. Both of them are less than 2 hours long.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And you will feel better no matter,
Yes.
whatever mood you're in, it is going to be better after you watched one or two.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So anyway. Well, anyone else have anything they want to say or comments on?
Don't think so.
No. There's some deleted scenes and bloopers and stuff in the extras on Disney Plus too.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
cool.
check
So-
those
Oh, I
out.
didn't-
They're always
yes.
fun. Yeah.
Only
I-
for the
I-
only for the first one. The only thing
Oh,
they have for
nothing else?
the only thing they have for the second one is the trailer under the extras. So,
Okay.
but yeah, there's a
Gotcha.
whole bunch of deleted scenes and stuff for the first one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, well, if any of our listeners have anything they want to chime in about Princess Diaries 1 or 2 or anything else we've discussed here today, send us some feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also go to the5ishfangirls.com, find links to all of our social media stuff. You can leave comments there. And we'll read them out on the podcast like we did Brian's today. So again, thank you, Brian, for commenting. And also you can find ways to support the show through Patreon, Amazon, Audible, and other things. And as always, we thank our listeners. Thank you for tuning in, for enjoying our antics and squee, and hope you all are doing well and hope you all are doing well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Fall is coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we've been planning a Halloween big Halloween carnival at the library's parking lot.
Nice.
Ooh,
in
nice.
October, because we have to do everything outside. So we're like, well, let's use this.
Yes.
So
Always fun.
yes, so we are full bore into the Halloween spirit.
Mm-hmm. Just make sure when you're stocking up on all that Halloween candy to stock up on toothbrushes, toothpaste, and dental floss.
That too.
Yes, indeed.
Otherwise, you're going to be paying for fillings next time you go to the dentist.
Yes.
You'll be getting
dentist
two
be happy.
bags. Yeah. You'll be getting two bags.
Yep.
A dental bag and a candy bag.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I always find it funny that they say, you go to the dentist's house and they just give you toothbrush. I'm like, no, they'd be given like all the hard candy and the caramel and the sticky
Right?
stuff.
Yes.
Cop security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They might give both, honestly, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not a dentist. If any dentists are out there listening, let us know what your Halloween plans are. How you treat the neighborhood kids.
There you go. All right. Well, with
Anyway.
that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Maine saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Queen is never late. Everybody else simply early.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You could also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.